If you work in sales, you know that money is in the follow-up. In this video, I'll show you how I follow up with potential clients like a closer. Alrighty guys, this video is gonna be all about what you guys do after you make that initial contact, after you make that initial connection, after that first discovery call. We're gonna teach you guys how to follow up like a closer. You hear everybody always say that the most important thing in a sales team is a closer. Everybody can be a closer. You can be a closer and be a new guy. You can be a closer and be a veteran. You know, learning to close is something that's really important. It makes you and your company money. Sending that personalized email. Everybody knows to send that personalized email. Everybody knows that after you have that initial discussion to send that personalized email, following up with what you guys had discussed, telling them what the benefits of working with your specific company is, whether that be a service industry, whether that be something specific product that you're offering. Show them, tell them what makes you different, what makes you stand above the rest in that email. Everybody knows to send that email though, so that's like your first initial thing to do. In that email, make sure that you're providing a brief summary of what your proposal is gonna go over. You don't necessarily have to go over the price and what you guys are gonna charge them for your services or your product, but going over what your product or your service is gonna do. So us being a sales and marketing firm, I'm gonna go over specifically what strategy I've put into that proposal. You know, the main bullet points of we're gonna do SEO, we're gonna do a website maintenance, we're gonna do sales lead gen. Just going over that summary makes them know, hey, they've been paying attention and they're not just copying and pasting off of things and copying and pasting a proposal. It makes them go, okay, hey, they listen to me, they know what they're gonna put in the proposal. And a lot of the time, guys, this follow-up email could be before the proposal. You can send this follow-up email before the proposal so you have that connection. So if you have any questions when creating that proposal, you can email them. And that's something really important, is having that open form of communication, especially with the decision maker. Because most of the time, that decision maker is not necessarily the only decision maker, but you have that form of communication with them. So asking them the questions of, hey, how can I sell this to the bigger decision maker, the CEO? How can I help you sell what you both want to accomplish to your CEO? Asking if they have any questions or concerns. I know this seems dumb and that most of you guys are gonna know that asking whether they have any questions or concerns is important, but it is something that a lot of people forget. Making sure that you have put yourself out there, that you are there to ask or to answer all of their questions and their concerns, and that you can give them some sort of answer to their concern. Whether that be a new strategy, whether that be a concern that they brought up after that initial conversation. Being able to answer those questions or getting back to them by going back and asking your team, that's really important. Again, we always say inquire who the decision makers are, inquire who they are so you know whether this person you're speaking to is the actual decision maker or whether they're the gatekeeper decision maker. Sometimes these sales managers say that they're gonna be the decision maker, but once you start sending them the proposal and start actually getting into things, you then realize that they have to actually answer to someone above them, whether that be a vice president, whether that be a CEO, whoever that is. So finding out who the actual decision makers are and what their timeline is. Because everybody out there, as a sales guy, you always are wanting them to do it as quickly as possible, but sometimes, guys, it won't happen until Q4. Some people are planning way ahead, but that's the type of people that you keep in your pipeline, that keeps your pipeline full. Those are the type of people that you always poke and check back on, and creating that form of rapport and creating that communication, that outlet of communication is key. Because then you will be able to sign those guys later on. You might not have their interest now, but come around Q4, they're gonna know that you've been pestering them once a quarter. Hey, touching base, doing this kind of stuff. This is all follow-up. Not necessarily following up on something that you know is gonna be happening in the next 2 weeks, following up on something that you know could potentially happen at the end of the year. Because I promise you, right now you might go, oh, well, that can take a back burner, but 6-7 months comes really quickly, and all of a sudden you realize that you haven't followed up and you haven't touched base with that client. That's an issue, because then you've lost that client. And then 6 months down the road, when you were kind of hoping that this is gonna be, you know, on your commission check, it's not now, because you haven't done the necessary things to follow up. Now, we all have the people that when we reach out with that initial email, we reach out with that initial form of communication, they don't reach back to us, they ghost us. There's a very fine line between being persistent and being annoying. If you cross that line to annoying, people are gonna write you off, you're gonna get blocked, you're gonna get no response from people. People are going to assume that you are too desperate. There is that desperation factor. If you put that desperation factor as a salesman, people will lose respect for you. You have to show that you guys are knowledgeable and patient when it comes to trying to sign a client, because everybody knows that that person that's always annoying. We all have that one friend that's always texting you, always being annoying on things, and you know that that kind of stuff annoys you. Now imagine how it's annoying somebody who has 15 or 20 of these people doing this to them every day. You want to have communication, but you don't want to be annoying. And my final little bit of advice that I'd give you guys is throughout this whole process, make sure you're not hard pitching these guys. You've already had that discovery call. You've already given them the information. Hard selling is not ideal when it comes to follow-ups. You're just trying to further that rapport, further that friendship with your follow-up. A hard sell turns people off on your business or on your product because they're sensing again that desperation in you. So that's it, guys. That's how I follow up like a closer. That's how I close my deals. Those are my tips to you. Let's see if you guys can't mimic them and close all those deals in your pipeline.